Alright, here we are. Now to continue the top tone series here, what we're going to do next is move on to RDAs, rebuildable dripping atomizers, or RSAs, rebuildable squonking atomizers. And we're going to start off with dual coils, like we did last time. And let's just get right on into it. A lot of these are older, but they're my personal favorites, and that's just what it happens to be, that they're older ones, older products. So, with that, let's jump right on into number 10. We have the Turk V2 RDA. It's a 24 millimeter RDA. I was kind of late to the game with this. I had always wanted one, and I just had never got around to it. I actually got this like a year ago, I think, just for the hell of it. It's an 810 tip, low profile. It's just a very clean looking RDA. You know, you can't argue with that. It's just very classy looking. I love Turk juices. Always seen green with this RDA, and I just eventually had to have it. It's a big airflow slit, and the airflow is kind of low. Because the airflow is set so low, it's more prone to over squonking that way. Deck is rather plain, nice Phillips head screws, you can't go wrong there. Very decent sized build deck, you could fit just about anything in there. But for me, I just find there's some RDAs on this list that are just a little more flavorful. This, for example, this is my number 9. This is the Reload X. You know, Reload does great atomizers. You'll see how high set that airflow is, but it actually comes in down low. This is not the stock drip tip, and there's numerous Reload RDAs. This is actually one of the later ones that came out. See, there it is, Reload X. Oh, get that focus in there. And yeah, I mean, that build deck, that design has been duplicated in numerous atomizers, like the Valhalla. The Asgard kind of has this vibe. There's a lot of things that have this vibe. So it comes up from high, and then it's like underside coil airflow. It's great. And the center, you know, there's no you know, posts right in the center, so if you wanted to drip with this, you'd be fine. I tend to squonk with it because you won't have any chance of leaking really with this. Next up, what do you know? Another Reload. The original Reload RDA. It's a funky looking one. So you have airflow coming in low on the side here, right? And that's dual sided. Now, you'll see there's a spot here too. If you twist the cap, anyhow, you can do single-sided airflow. Let's just say that. So that's a strange looking build deck you don't see every day, right? Phillips head screws, amazing. And it's got that Kennedy airflow. It's going in from the side and straight underneath your coil. So I'd say, you have to be a little more careful squonking or dripping with this, but the flavor makes it very worthwhile, and you get a nice resistance and everything. Good O-rings, good tolerances. Yeah, this is a classic RDA, and it had to make the list. Silly rabbits. Yes, I'm a huge fan of the early Dead Rabbits. So on the left, that white one is the V2, and to your right is the Drop Dead. I adore both of these. Just kind of lump them together here. I suppose if I had to choose, I love the white styling of the V2. You'll see this is very worn. This one got a lot of use. This Drop Dead, I'm going to put in the spot. This was actually my first RDA that I ever got. Still have it. Still in relatively good condition. But yeah, huge fan of the Drop Dead. It incorporates the drop bill deck. It's got the honeycomb airflow built right into the side. The only issue I find with Hellvape is their O-rings. They always had tight O-rings on every RDA I've had of theirs. But it was just very good to learn on this. And I learned actually putting the coils closer to the airflow rather than bent toward the center, or straight up, really, gave me the best flavor for this. And putting those legs relatively high, because after all, the airflow is set pretty high on this. Yeah, it's sort of embarrassing to say, but I watched the Rip Tripper's Drop Dead review like 100 times. So here's just some honorable mentions. The Nightmare 25. Personally, I have a different RDA I like a little more than this. This has such a great reputation. Vaping Bogan even called this his favorite dual coil at one point, but it's not quite me. The Goon 25, I just felt the need to mention a Goon in this because it's just a classic RDA. And then the Cali V2 is incredible by QP Designs. I felt like that needed to be said. Love this. And the Cyclone Crichton. I have one and only one mesh RDA I ever really used, which is the Profile RDA. Incredible. And before I go on to my top 5, these were my two favorite for series. The Valhalla 28, which is definitely my favorite for series vaping, and the 27mm Ardent by Times Vape and Tenacious TX is a unique one. This is also great for series too, the Money Shot Purge. Yeah, we are down to the wire here. This is Immortal Mods or Armageddon Mods, the Reckoning 25mm with a custom tip on there. It's just one big airflow slit, a round hole. I hope this is going to be in focus a little better than it looks. Let me just show you the build deck on this real quick. Get the damn thing off. Here we go. This is pretty unique. You screw it on, and there's clamps underneath tighten up, like they're like little tracks. Yeah, this was pretty convenient to build on, and so you have one screw on the side and then one in the middle, and that's that. And you see how the airflow comes in. So, and you can also screw this and raise and lower that like a little trap door. Pretty cool. So yeah, was tough to decide upon, but I deciding right now. Well, the Kennedy 25. I was very tempted to put this in second place because of its legend status. I mean, it really is probably the most legendary RDA. This and, I don't know, maybe the Goon. So, take a look at this build deck real quick. See some rather large coils in there. This is the 2-post Kennedy. There's also the 3-post, what's the one called? The Gremlin or something like that? I forget. There's another Kennedy, a smaller one. Kennedy 22. So yeah, I mean, the Kennedy is just, it's bottom airflow. It's drawn in from the side. And, you know, they had them in copper, brass, stainless steel. This is a custom Cerakoted Vindicator. And yeah, it's lovely. But Kennedy, they had to make the list. Lastly, one of the great things about Kennedy and why it's such a perfect mech dripper, traditional dripper, is because you could take the top cap off and it has no bearing on anything. I mean, the O-rings are so good, and you can always just, I mean, it's dry. You could always put it back on. You put it back on however you want. You don't have to line any airflows up. It's just perfect. Number 3. This is an RDA for vaping, V1. This is the original RDA for vaping. By Coil Turd. Yeah, this is the custom capped version by Palmer's Powder, or yeah, Palmer's Powder, something like that. Aston Palmer. The knurled drip tip, I wasn't like crazy about, but I mean, in the airflow, there's not tons of options. I like the 2-hold option. It's just the right bit of restriction. 3-hold snake bite styles, just a little too airy for me. The build deck is just very condensed. And here at number 2 is the Cosmonaut 2. I think this thing is incredible. Look at that little slit. It's a more restrictive, it's a dual coil RDA that I feel like I could vape now, to this day. See the nice like fin there for heat dissipation? Pretty good. And it's subtle too, you know. The airflow is not too low, not too high. You know, it fixes the problem that the V1 had, where the leads were trying to, you know, close in from the wrong side. You'll notice that deck, the little platform there, it kind of has a similarity to the RDA for vaping in that regard. You know, you could fit a nice coil in there. It actually has a juice well, unlike the original one. It really didn't have a juice well, so that was the other big problem with the original. But yeah, airflow, flavor, in that regard, it's right up there with my number 1 spot. You know, I rate this on the same level as, sorry that lead is all bent up, I was trying to clean it, but yeah, I put this on the same level as the Kennedy and everything else that, you know, I rate really highly for flavor. This is way up there. So the Cosmonaut 2, it could be my 1 spot, but yeah, and at these O-rings, I mean, this is dry right now, and it just goes on perfectly, snaps into place, you know. Dare I say it has even better tolerance than my Kennedy. So here's that Valhalla 28 build deck. which is similar to the Nightmare 25. The main difference between those two is the Valhalla has a more traditional honeycomb airflow, whereas the Nightmare 25 has these slits. Last but not least, my favorite dual coil RDA, the Asgard Mini. I think the Asgard Mini packs the best flavor than any other dual coil RDA. It's downright incredible. It already had the reputation that it does prior to me getting it, so I had high expectations. This is a more expensive RDA. It's made by Vapor's Cloud. For a Chinese RDA, it was like $50, I believe. Here's the Ultim version, and I'm just couldn't believe the flavor that it has. I mean, it has that Ultim insert in there. And I think the Ultim insert is what makes the flavor so good. And look how the way that postless deck is, it just keeps a nice condensed chamber in there. If you look in there, you see those. Now the RDA for vaping has something like this too, but having that condensed chamber and those honeycomb slits in there, I think just juice and air, it gets caught in there better, and it just adds to the flavor. Condensation, I think, builds up, and it only makes it more saturated and flavorful. It truly is the best. And then here you have one more Asgard Mini of mine. This is, a clear glass cap for it. Something rather unique. I just figured I'd point out to you. So, yeah, that's my list. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it may not be the most exciting list, but it's mine. So, all right, take care, guys.